you get it if you didn't get the QR code.
Okay, so where are we from in Pennsylvania? The three of us, Melissa Whitman, Sharon Strauss, who's walking around making sure you get the QR code, and myself, Sean Cucker, we are technology specialists for Nazareth Area School District. Our other cohort, Becky, was in the back. I don't know if she's still back. Oh, there she is in the middle. And she's also one of our tech specialists. She has a presentation tomorrow.
And she's new, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna make her come on.
And so what is Nazareth known for? Does anybody know anything about Nazareth?
Oh, Martin guitar.
Mark guitar, very good. And? Yes, okay, so Mario Andretti is a race car driver and legend. He still lives in Pennsylvania, which is very, very nice. Sometimes you can see him out in one of his many cars, and he does drive the speed limit. So that's nice. And this year, just at FYI, our band did their show as a commemoration of his 50th win at Indy 500. So he worked a lot with our band, which was very nice as well. And also, as I said, CF Martin Guitar. If you're ever in the Lehigh Valley area and you want to take a tour of CF Martin, it's a wonderful tour to go on. But a lot of different entertainers have Martin guitars. So what we're going to be talking about is our PUG program at Nazareth. We call them PUGs because they're our power user group. And it's a train the trainer program. And they are contracted for 20 hours. They do sign a contract. And this was started 3 years ago. It was a 3-year program that we were testing out. We have decided to renew and have PUGs for next year, which will be our 4th year. A lot of times they're chosen by a department or a grade level, and we do have PUGs that are K through 12. Or they can volunteer, and it's a first come, first served basis. And what we expect them to do is to deliver professional development, not only in their buildings, but also, you know, when somebody requests some kind of help in their buildings, or professional development that could be district-wide. Everything we do is on Schoology. Schoology is our LMS. We put everything on there, K through 12. Our teachers use it as a resource for their classrooms, and we do all our professional development we have on Schoology. Even our Apple Teacher badges we've created in Schoology, and as our teachers are completing Apple Teachers, they can we check it on Schoology, and then they earn badges through Schoology as well. And that just shows a picture of our PUG page. So our PUG Academy last summer was held in the month of July, and it consisted of 4 days. The last couple of years, what happened was 3 years ago, K through 6 decided to go from PC to complete Apple. So every teacher got a MacBook Air, they got an iPad, and they got an Apple TV in their classroom. And so they needed training, obviously, to go from PC to Apple. And so our district decided to bring Apple trainers in to train the teachers. So we did that for 2 years, and then the secondary was learning more about Schoology and Google and their PC. And then what happened was last year we decided, let's not split up K through 6 in one building and 7 through 12 in another building. Let's combine it and do K through 12, and the tech specialists were the ones that designed the training. So we decided, after going to ISTE and going to several other professional developments in our area, that we were going to do a Candyland thing. So that's why you see the candy. We couldn't bring all the blow-ups, we could only fit so many in the car. And we had a photo station, which we'll be talking about. So we're going to be going over the 4 days, and it's a lot, it's jam-packed, but we did get through all of it. And a lot of people were commenting how they liked that it was K through 12. So day 1.
All right, so throughout the 3 days, we decided to run a Goose Chase Challenge. We did this because we had a lot of pugs who were a little more advanced than others, and so we wanted to keep them engaged throughout those 3 days. So they could do these challenges if they finished early, they could do them at home in the evening if they wanted to. We gave out prizes for leaderboards every day, like we did today. We gave out a prize for the person on the leaderboard at the beginning. And if you have not joined our Goose Chase and want to, you can use the code up here. It's on the app, so you have to download the app in order for that to work. So some of the challenges that we did were tech related, and other challenges were not. So one of my favorites was show how proud you are to work at Nazareth and go down to the stadium and take a picture with the Blue Eagle. The other kind of techie challenge that was really fun was we asked teachers for the day 3 to bring in the most unusual item, and then we voted on which the pugs thought was the most unusual, and then we gave that person bonus points. And so that kind of helped us to differentiate who was kind of in the lead then or on the leaderboard. The most unusual item was a heart valve that somebody had taken out. Their father had his heart valve or something like that. And that was what our teacher voted the winners. I thought it was disgusting or gross, but that's okay. I'm not a science person.
All right, so our whole theme was around games. So after we started with the Goose Chase Challenge, the first game we did was Heads Up. So our whole goal was, these are teachers in our district, there's 52 of them. We wanted to give them a toolbox, an online toolbox that they can take back, use in their classroom, share with their colleagues. I mean, there's only so many of us and trying to get to everybody. So we wanted to kind of model how to use it with the teachers so they could go back into the classroom. So we did the Heads Up game. If you've ever played like headbands, put a card, if it's a cow, the people in the crowd have to explain it to you and you have to guess that you're wearing a cow. So there is an app called Heads Up that is similar, that you hold your phone or an iPad on top of your head and you basically have to have someone describe it to you. So through Google Slides, we said we can do that with our teachers and you can do it with your students. So we needed to find out how much they knew on SAMR and the 4 C's, because there were 2 goals of our district, which we'll talk to you a little bit later, that we wanted all the pugs to know and to take back. So we need to know what they knew. So we kind of did a heads up game with them. So I literally walked around like this, like I'll do with you, and I would hold it up. Now I know this first one, but you as a crowd, if you were trying to get me to guess what this is when referring to SAMR, you would need to describe it to me. We had our pug. So what is it? How would you describe this word? Without telling me the word. So I would say substitution, and then if I swipe, it's replacing an activity, no change in learning. You're just substituting. So then I would swipe the next one. Now I didn't look at this one. Is it a word?
It's a word.
Okay. So what would you do with this one? Those of you that know SAMR. Adding to modification. Did I get it right? Augmentation. Can't see. I can't listen either. And then replacing the activity with improvement in tech. And so we'd go through it. These were mixed up. We were just trying to give you an idea. So we went through and we kind of got an idea who was answering and who didn't. We also modeled to them how to simply take a Google slide and play Heads Up, either with their cell phone or with their iPads in their classroom. Now we are mixed. K to 6 we were 1-to-1 iPads, 7 through 12 were 1-to-1 Chromebooks. So, and now we have a K to 12 staff. So we're trying to give them ideas that they could do with any device. So it was nice. We also then said your students could go through and make this in Google Slides and play it as a review game. It's a good center game. High school kids can make it and share it because they think it's like, you know, too funny to do it. So, but they can make them and share. So we just modeled that activity, keeping with the whole game theme. So the next thing we did is we wanted to give them ideas. We actually have weeks where we say it's anti-worksheet. You're not allowed to give worksheets. You want to talk panic? So we wanted to give them some ideas on how they can not use worksheets. They're 1-to-1. They have to use devices. Our school boards, like, you know, how are using them. So we took the ideas from like the 60 and 60 here with apps. We actually went to Schoology has a Connect conference. We went and someone presented on anti-worksheet ideas. So we took some of those ideas, some from P&C here normally, and ideas we know,
and we created a 59 ideas in 59 minutes. And we literally went through 59 items that were kind of K-12 and went through them. We tried to make sure that we were just exposing. I'm not going to spend time on it, just give them ideas, because we can all Google things. But if we don't know it exists, we don't know how to Google it. So an example would be, and by the way, if you want the presentation, it's here. It would be things like this. And again, we only had a minute, we each took a couple. So I would say Bitmoji. You can use the extension in your Chrome browser, and then you can personalize it and put your picture in to get your kids engaged. So quick, explaining how to do it, and then next one. Classroom screen. Old tool has been revised. It has a stoplight, so you can, for your groups, okay, it's getting yellow, you need to start wrapping it up. Red is stop. It has a timer. It has an online whiteboard. It does groups. Quick, easy tool. It's web browser, so it works on everything. Copy chart. Used to be copy paste character. That went void, null. This is where you can go to this website, highlight an emoji, and you can tell stories through emojis or use emojis in your writing. So copy chart is one that they can go and use. If you don't have an iPad, you can use it on Chromebook. Crafty text, another one of those extensions that you can put in where, do you ever have to give your students a website to go to? You can type it in and it puts a big and wide across your screen so all the students can see it. So it's crafty text. Flippity. Flippity is great to make groups. You put in your students' names, it goes into Google Drive, Google Sheets, and it puts kids into groups. It puts a random name dropper. It has memory games. It has bingo. It has tic-tac-toe, all kinds of things for you. And then you'd be done in 59 minutes. And then we pretty much had talked that fast. So, but then we followed up with something.
And just to kind of reiterate what Melissa was saying, or add to, I guess it would be, is that all our QR codes in our presentation are also linked, so you don't have to scan them. They're also linked to the website. And also on the 59 to 59, every image is linked to the website or to a description of the app as well. So that can help you as well. So one of the things that we decided to do was we decided that after we did the 59 and 59, we get the people up and moving, and we were going to do a Candyland game. And so most people probably, I don't have children. I don't think I ever played Candyland, so at 53, 54.
I had to get the Candyland game, bring it in and show these two.
Yeah. So unfortunately I didn't know how to, but a lot of our people, thank goodness, have kids or remember playing it as a kid. I like Monopoly when I was little. And so that's why, again, the candy pieces came in handy because we had them out in the hall, we got balloons, and we made it really fun. And so we grouped them by, again, making sure we mixed the primary with the secondary teachers into some groups. And then they created an activity that matched their curriculum, or something that they could all use, and how they shared back the video of them on how they would use the thing that they landed on, or the activity they landed on. They shared it through our Flipgrid. And then they had to post a video of how they would use that app or style. So this was one of our Candyland boards. We had 52 people as pugs in our district, and we have 6 buildings in our district. So this was the building. We got solicited some help from Melissa's family to build it, and then this showed some of the people outside of our auditorium in our middle school actually playing the game. And we actually had to have 2 boards. One went down a hall as well. And they had a lot of fun. There was a lot of talking. People usually pick somebody to do all the videos. And then, again, this one shows the one in the hall. And then we had, much like back there, we had a picture area that teams could go and they could pose with the candy and games and stuff like that and take pictures. And then we actually made a slideshow of everybody's picture, and they were playing it the very next day, which was kind of cool. So, of course, we're going to try this game. Now, we had to modify a little bit. We were asking some of the people that were playing it, like, where can we put these games at? We didn't realize what the setup is because we've never been to this convention hall. So on your seats, you're either sitting on some paper, or you might actually have a paper that has an application on it.
So pretend that's the board, so you're the Candyland. So you're going to work
sitting
in rows.
on the board. So you're gonna work in rows, and if you don't have a lot of people in your rows, like if you three wanna work together, you three can work together. And what you wanna do is use the application that's on your game pieces, or if you have multiple ones, because I see there's like, people are like, oh, this looks like trouble, I'm gonna stack them all at once. You see right over here. You want to just pick one, okay? If you don't know anything about, this is a good chance to Google it, because we're gonna give you some time. And we want you to work together, and then this takes you to the flip grid?
Yes.
The flip grid, one person in your group has to do it, not all of you. And so you want to post it on Flipgrid, just how you would use this application, okay?
So we're gonna set a timer for 5 minutes. So you would just, with your group, pick one person. You can log in with Google and just kind of go through, and you can just say quizzes. It's a tool like Kahoot and Quizalize. This one you can do for homework.
And we have prizes. And so
5 minutes we're giving you. We're gonna walk around and help you if you have tried it or not. Okay, so if you don't, then someone else in your row.
someone else in your room.
Alright, so Google that one.
Okay, we'll check that out. If you want to go out in the hall and cause some disruption out there, I'm sure our neighbors won't mind. You don't have to hold it, you just have to educate somebody on how you can do it. You want Don't forget to take some candy. There's candy all over the place. I'm going to post it
But it's really easy to like, so I'm not like networks and all that. Yeah, and so like you'll just keep scrolling and adding like photos.
Anybody need help?
Yeah, I did something. I was
We did open the flip right now.
Yeah. Forget.
No, you're not.
Why is this like whiten it out? Why is it not adjusting the? It's like not wanting to scan at all. Hello, sorry camera.
Anybody need help?
I make it so long
We're the worst.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, we have Adobe Sparks. Adobe Sparks Info graphics and Adobe Sparks.
1 minute.
Website is Adobe Sparks and instructional videos, Adobe Smart Videos. Oh, my God. You didn't mind it. Why is it still Oh, it just crashed. Okay, talk about it.
All right, so you should be finishing up. If you go back, we did leave our pugs on that video so you could see them. When it went back to Flipgrid, you can actually see the others in here. So we did that purposely because if I don't know how to do Poplet on the Candyland board, I can now go back, and that's a permanent resource for my pugs to go back and watch how to use Poplet. So we were trying to like reinforce them over the whole time. One of the questions in the back channel was about had they have any follow-up since the 59 and 59. Yes, we actually revisit them throughout the 3 days, which you'll see. We also then, our pugs are also required to do a turnaround training. They have to do a 3-hour training or 2 1.5s, and they get paid for 6. So we give them paid prep time. So it was a dedication by our central administration to really make this program work, and they did put the money behind it. Some of it was their PD hours, and then some of it was pay. So they do a turnaround, so it's kind of cute seeing them advertise the stuff we taught them over the summer, and they're like, hey, come to our thing on Pear Deck, or come to this, so it's kind of neat. So they do get it some more.
All right, so on the last day of day 1, or the last thing we did on day 1 was to do a spin on the cooking show Chopped. We introduced the SAMR model to teachers, and again, for a lot of our pugs, it was really an introduction to SAMR. And then we played a little activity where we gave them cards with different lessons and different activity ideas, and then they had to sort them into the different SAMR substitution, augmentation, modification, or redefinition. And then when we were doing the Chopped, we said to them, you need to come up with some activities that move beyond the S. So that's kind of how we tied the SAMR then into this game or this activity. All right, so you're going to get a chance to get Chopped. We're going to do a modified version of this. So when we did it with the teachers, we gave them a basket. We broke them up into groups because we had so many. We broke them up into groups of 4. Groups of 12 groups of 4. We gave them 10 minutes to plan. They had no idea what was in their basket. We just handed them baskets. We did an appetizer, just like the game. We did entree, and we did a dessert. Each group then took those 3 things, plus some pantry items that we had up there, and they had to prepare an activity or a lesson that used all 3 things. They had 3 to 4 minutes to present, and then the other pugs decided who the winners were for each of the events. And then we used a Google form to vote.
And then we chopped groups.
All right, so in this modified version, you are lucky enough to get to see what the apps are for appetizers, dinner, or dessert. And then again, you have, so those are the 3 items you have to use in your activity or your lesson. but then you get these free pantry items that are free for everyone to use. So we are going to ask you with a small group or in a row to choose if you want to do an appetizer, dinner, or dessert. Come up with a little lesson and then post that lesson to our Padlet by using the QR code here. And see what you can come up with in 5 minutes. We've got 5 minutes.
And keep you on your toes.
Keep you on your toes.
We kept our folks busy. We're setting the timer. Here it goes. It's a Padlet, so you'll see what it is when you click on it. It's like, no, I know it's not. I know it's not. Sorry. We're going to put the timer on there. If you don't know what is, Google it or ask us. Wait, 3 more minutes? All 3 items are required. That's the challenge. These are free, but those are required.
So we do an appetizer, dinner, and
No, you just pick one, but you have to use all 3 items in the appetizer.
It's definitely tricky. One more minute.
1 minute.
oh, you have to do all the
Alright, so like the game of Chopped, we did try to make it a high pressure. Our teachers may not have known all the things in their basket. They may have had in that 10 minutes to prepare something to have to look it up. We also try to mix it up elementary and secondary so that, and I tried to mix the items up in the basket so there might be some elementary and secondary. So they really had to work together in order to come up with some kind of lesson or some activity. And again, all of the resources, if you had a chance to post are in the Padlet and they're up and they're linked in our presentation.
And if we talk, we would have time to go through all
Right,
of
we
them.
will, yeah, we go through the
And
challenge
vote, but
process.
we wanna make sure we get through them. So, that was all day one. Okay, everything from the beginning to now, except for telling like where we live, because they live there too, was all in day one. Okay, so this is what happened on day two.
So actually, there was one other little thing on day one. We decided that we were going to have them do an ed camp. So if you're not familiar with an ed camp, it's an unconference. Basically, you come to a session, you might have an idea to like a conference, and you might have an idea in your mind to do like a sharing. So, and then there's usually a grid, and you sign up for a spot that you kind of share. It's not a formal presentation. You shouldn't really have a PowerPoint or a Google slide. But we wanted them to share. They're pugs for a reason. We wanted them to share some of the good things they're doing. And we really wanted our secondary to hear what elementary is doing, and we really wanted elementary to hear what secondary is doing. So we kind of showed them a little video, which is inside the presentation, on what an ed camp was, because most of them never have heard of it or attended one. And we then gave them a sign up and told them tomorrow morning we're going to have an ed camp in the morning. So they were going to have to present something or like talk about something for 20 minutes. So if we pick, this was the grid, and we had them sign up on Google Docs to show them that you don't have to do it on a bulletin board. And we kind of figured out how many could fit in because we wanted them to have an audience. So you can see, like, we had, that was 2 6th grade teachers. They did science labs, goodbye paper, hello technology, something they do. Or like iMovie, use of QR codes, mindfulness, STEAM. And they came up with their activities. They signed up on that day one. And then on day two, they came in. They came in, and then they attended it like we're attending a conference. They picked which one they wanted to go to. And then they went in, and they shared. And they sat kind of round table in a circle, talking back and forth. There wasn't like a real presentation, a QR code, just because she wanted a visual and she asked if she could do that. But notice how they're listening and they're sharing. I'm like, well, hey, we do this in 1st grade. Wow, you did that in 11th grade, or da 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 da. And they came out of here like so excited because they didn't know that they could use a lot of these apps between levels.
And then the second day after we did the mini ed camp, what we decided to do was actually split at that point K6 and 7-12, and that we covered things that we as tech specialists and our administrators thought that they needed to know on grade level. And this could cover apps, things in Schoology, because there were some changes in Schoology, and Google and other needs that were needed. We also, first day, told them that we were going to have a Google dress up. If somebody wanted, people wanted to dress up in Google costumes and make their own costumes. So this shows, of course, only the elementary teachers participated.
Steam on for our secondary ed this year.
They're the best, and I have to say, only K through 3. So, this is our library media specialist. She has an in. Her daughter works for Google in New York. So she had all this Google paper and stuff like that. And then we had 2 2nd grade teachers. They decided to be point A and destination B on Google Maps, which I thought was adorable. And then here's one of our kindergarten teachers as Google's #1 fan, which I don't know if she's #1 fan, because I think people would fight over that. And so we picked a winner. Everybody picked a winner. Of course, the one that has a daughter working for Google and gave her one of the prizes. We had many prizes that were donated throughout the 4 days through our educational foundation. We went to them, asked them for money, and we got book bags, tablet covers. We actually took them to our Army and Navy and had them embroidered with the school logo.
We made swag bags for everybody.
Everybody got a swag bag that had socks in it and a pop-it and different things like that. The clear bags, because now you have to have a clear bag when you go into an event. And
pop sockets.
yeah, so it was kind of nice. And we had Google Docs and different things like that, so it was really kind of nice.
Okay, so another activity then we did after a morning again of going through some like more specific content that we wanted them to do, we wanted to give them yet again another activity that they could take back to the classroom. So we decided to go off of Shake Up's Learnings, the learning menus. So, and I've seen them in a couple of the presentations I went to. But we wanted them to use an activity that's going to teach them something else they didn't know. As a district, we use Bright Bite Survey. We survey our students, our teachers, and our parents twice a year. And we take that data and we actually, beyond like a strategic and comprehensive plan, we have a digital learning plan for our district, like what are our goals, how are we gonna get there? And so we kind of derived all that and we found we were low, our teachers were low in the 4 C's, they didn't know what they were, and digital citizenship. So like having to teach their students digital citizenship, they don't know that part. So we wanted to kind of give them more knowledge. So we did a presentation on the 4 C's. And then we took that and we had them do what's called a learning menu. So a learning menu, there's kind of some like a tic-tac-toe, bingo, where it's like a contract of work and you kind of pick what you want to learn, what activities you want to do to learn the content. So we actually, again, keeping with that whole theme, we really wanted like some of the secondary learn, some primary strategies and vice versa. Again, we put it in a flippity, we put it into groups. At first they're complaining, but they loved it by the end. Because we took them out of their comfort zone, but we put them into groups, and then we gave them, this is a Google Doc, and we shared it with them, and we said, you have to get tic-tac-toe. And everybody has to do the one with the star, and it was a Pear Deck lesson that we created on digital citizenship. So everybody had to do that, and then you had to get tic-tac-toe. And the group that got done first, again, won some of those prizes that we had. So they would either go up and down, left or right, or diagonal, and then they would compete against each other. So guess what we're doing? Okay, this is our last one. But we have prizes. So we're gonna have you try this. This is a bit.ly to one that we created for you guys. So I'm gonna actually click on this and show it to you. It's going to ask you to make a copy of it. And it should come up. Let us know if
How
not.
do you do that?
We had everything locked.
Can you go back to the bit?
Yes, I'm sorry. It should be in the presentation, but I'll go back. So it's bit.ly, it's digital citizenship XOXO. Okay. So hopefully this comes up. I'll show you how to make it do a copy. So on here, each of one person from your row, we want you to do this. We're going to assume that you did our Pear Deck lesson on digital citizenship. But then we gave them things that we wanted to teach them that they could do with their kids, like create a Kahoot, create a Flipgrid, take 3 pictures with their iPad or their phone, use voice memo on your phone and create a voice thing. So again, we're trying to modeling, adding to that toolbox of ideas. So we're going to set a timer. You're going to go to that bit.ly. We want to see who can get tic-tac-toe to 2 of the other things first. We're going to go back to the bit.ly, so we'll walk around and help you if you haven't done it before. Here's the bit.ly again, so bit.ly DCXOXO. And see, even if you're just looking at it, but if you can come up with those other 2, if you want, you can color it in, but you have to prove to us you did the other 2. If it doesn't come up,
No, I don't.
so when you get it, Is there anybody else that doesn't know how to do that copy trick? Let me know. I'll walk around. We'll post it in the back channel. The how we record the copy. Oh, okay. But that's how that copy goes. As we walk around, we can answer the questions. Can you send me that?
You did it right in the thing. You did it right in the thing, or I can video you.
Yep. Yep. Sure, please. Alright, so I got a video?
Got about 2 minutes.
We just have to be able to prove it. How do I post that
You
slide?
can try.
Is it like
In a minute, in a minute. What are you open to? Did we get 5? We're done. We are done. Did you get the gummy bear? Or the ice cream cone?
40 seconds.
Scissors and the bear. Just it.
Alright, so, anybody get tic-tac-toe? Wow! Well, guess what? You're all winners. So, you don't even want to finish it. So each of you are getting a gummy bear. It's a stretchy one. So as she finishes up day 3, Sean and I will walk around and give you your little gummies.
Alright, so day 3. After we had 2 packed days, we purposely saved and planned the new initiatives for the last day. We didn't want our pugs to focus on the new initiatives while we were trying to do games. We wanted them to have fun and be engaged in some of the things that we were doing so that we take them back to the classroom. And we didn't want that pressure of they knew they were going to have to instruct all the staff very soon. So we wanted to wait and do all the new learning at the end. And we had a lot of new learning. We switched from Outlook to Gmail. So we had a Gmail and calendar that we had to teach all staff. We also upgraded from Power School 10 or something to Power Teacher Pro. So the grade book was going to change for everybody. And then in 7 through 12, we have been using Schoology, but we have not asked them to use the grade book. And since they were going to have to learn something new, we wanted to give them the option because their grades do sync over. So we had to teach that as well. So day 3 was filled with a lot of training. In the middle of the day, though, we did have our admin provide lunch. They did a nice cookout for us. So they stood over a hot grill on a very, very hot day, and they made us some hamburgers and hot dogs. So that was a treat for all of the pugs on day 3. And then we ended day 3. After lunch, we ended the day by turning our new learning into screencasts. So we paired, again, we were really big on pairing elementary and secondary. So we paired our pugs, elementary and secondary. Our secondary pugs had a little bit more experience on this than our elementary because they've been using all Apple, so they haven't been using any Google kind of extensions or things like that. So each pair took a specific Gmail idea and worked together and used Screencastify to create a video. We stored all of the videos in Schoology, and then we were going to use those as a resource for our whole staff as we implemented the switchover from Outlook to Gmail. We hoped by doing the screencasts that the pugs would be a little bit more comfortable with the material, and that they would take the screencasting idea back into their classrooms.
So Did you see the pugs? They did it in their partners again, secondary and elementary working together.
So we finally get to day 4. And on day 4 was an independent day. So the pairs, we paired a primary with a secondary, and they had to create for the in-service their training. Now what we did was we used those screencastify videos that they created for our Google, because we were transitioning from Outlook to Google. We used those in Schoology. And then we couldn't possibly do all the Google email and all the Google calendars through our PUG sessions, so then we supplemented at doing some of the videos as well, so that they had it as a resource. And again, this page is nice for anybody to have a refresher on anything. And it's coming from people in their district. It's not like it's on YouTube or Google or what have you. And again, we put everything in Schoology.
So our last day, we took a picture of the entire group, and then we gave out our prizes. So again, for the goose chase or other prizes that they won, we gave out all those things that we got from the foundation. We even had personalized laptop covers made. And again, having the strong support of our administration, our community, our school board, and our foundation had really helped us to fund it. We also wrote out to like Wegmans and asked for them to give us money towards food. That's what helped with the administrators grilling for us. So we kind of reached out because we didn't want the district to have to fund everything, but we wanted it to be fun and engaging. Last but not least, we do want to give credit because we did get the Candyland idea from ISTE, from those women and guys. Anti-worksheet from Schoology Connect, and then the learning menu. So we want to give credit where credit was due. And then the little guy over here, Sean said, like, we even had one of our pugs designed our thing, and our first year we had pug t-shirts, so we all have pug shirts too. Last but not least, here's our presentation again. This is who we are, and you can follow us. My phone's blowing up, so you are doing it. And we have some prizes.
And we also up there, we took some of our Schoology and we made a sample of it. So there is a Schoology join code up there. And we will be posting this presentation after here into that grid, that table. But again, you can go in there and you can do whatever in there because it's just a practice one. So keep it clean.
Keep it clean.
All right, so because we have a number of people in first place, I just did a random chooser. And through that random chooser, we have Chuck S. as winning the first prize, but we have a second prize, so Chuck is back there. So Chuck is wins the first prize.
He gets a box of donuts, so not real donuts.
And our second prize goes to Mrs. Sanders.
So good job, everybody. A lot of candy, and feel free to take your pictures, and we're done, so thank you very much. Reach out to us.
Thank you.
Yeah. We have a 5-hour drive back to Eastern Pennsylvania, so take that.
Hey, thanks so much.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, look at you winning prizes.
Oh, I won prizes. Okay, like you gotta be here by 2.
Yeah. It worked out really I've been a teacher there for 20 years, so. Okay. Yeah, so then you would have like.
No, that's okay.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, I'm just gonna scoot by you.
Super fun. Well done presentation. Like it.
Very cool. Oh, she's back there. She's coming unless you want to wait.
Look excited as you presented. it's inspirational to see someone who hears a great idea, is there too. But I just got this position from a tech coach, a tech integration specialist for the first year, 13 years teaching math. And you hear this great idea, wow, actually, took it, actually, you know, I get to quit your month. Did you know though that you needed to do something over the summer?
We did.
And we have a really great team. And our admin gives us a lot of space.
We worked like 12 times.
All right.
I can't believe the amount of info you went over with this.
We did, in a short amount of time.
2 days, right?
Yeah.
2 days.
But they loved it. The whole team was really good.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I'm inspired.
Well, that's good. Look at your mouth. Look at your mouth.
Thank you.
A little over an hour. Yeah, it's been a good experience.
So they're always working with like a team.
Some are
It's even more like our team or grade level. So it is a little different, but they only meet like 2 times during the school year officially. And then they have to try it ahead of time. So it's very most of the professional development, but they do have a couple. Right now we have about 27 courses.
Million different things. It's like, you know,